Here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, before I get way into this video, you need to know the quick backstory. April of 2021, I got into this car accident. I had that Lexus for, I guess, about 7 years, and unfortunately, this car was totaled. It triggered me to have to buy something new in the moment, to be quite honest. I had my eye on a Tesla for quite some time, but this kind of expedited the process. I had to get something, so I bought a 2020 Tesla Model 3. So I now have, after 1 year of driving this car, 10 things to share about the Tesla experience specific to the Model 3. And the overview goes like this. If I've driven, I don't know, maybe 200 cars in my life, whether they were my own, I was borrowing somebody's car, I was driving somebody else's car, I was renting a car, of all the cars I've ever been at the wheel of, this one is honestly like no other. And it's not just the no gas thing, but also how about like there's no physical key to this car, or regenerative braking. Has a far different feel than driving a gas car, where you do have to hit the brakes when you want to slow down. You want to slow down in this car, you just take your foot off the accelerator and the braking starts automatically. Not to mention that there are software updates. Even since I've had this car for 12 months, it has dramatically changed in the user interface, some of the features, the options. I mean, it's tremendous how the software and the hardware are in such unison. And also the connectivity, right? The fact that there is an app for this car, and a lot of cars, new ones these days, have apps, but so many things you can do with this app and this car. I can literally look at camera views, 4 different camera views of my car while I'm not even at my car, remotely from anywhere. So it's all very impressive. I will say that you probably need a 2 to 5 day transition period to get used to how this car handles, especially the braking, not necessarily the steering, but mostly the regenerative braking. It's not going to lurch if you're at a stop sign and you've got the brake hold on. It's just going to sit there. It's not going to go. It's not going to idle go until you actually put a little bit of pressure on the accelerator. As I mentioned before, very little braking is required. It takes you a while to realize that you can do your entire commute, as I regularly do, to San Francisco, maybe touching the brake once, or a lot of times never at all. You do not need conventional braking. That regenerative braking does pretty much all the work for you. And also, oh yeah, the acceleration, the instant torque, it's awesome. It's just not something that a gas car can provide. And if you don't understand what I'm saying here, think of a golf cart. When you hit the gas, when you hit the accelerator, still getting used to that, it instantly goes. It instantly provides you thrust and power, whereas a car, and with an internal combustion engine, there is that process, right, of intake, compression, power, exhaust. That 4-step process with the cylinders, it takes a little bit to spool up and actually give you some of that power. Speaking of the acceleration, even a year later, like, it still hits. If you're stopped and you floor this thing, I mean, you are going to get pushed back into your seat, almost uncomfortably if you're not used to it or if you're not the one at the controls. But I will say, you've got to be careful about this, right? This is something where a car can be going from 0 to 60, even this Model 3, in about 3 seconds? I don't even know the actual speed. And there are some acceleration upgrades you can get with the Model 3, but you got to be careful with this. It is instant power, and it doesn't come without a price. If you do this a lot, I would imagine the mileage on your tires is going to significantly go down. Like, you can feel the acceleration, the push, all that weight of a heavy car and that quick acceleration, that has to wear down your tires a good 5 to 10,000 plus miles if you were to do this a lot. So yes, it feels good. It's nice to be able to get away from something, get through a couple trucks, to have that acceleration if you need it for safety. And yes, for fun in a safe environment. But you do have to be careful with it. The situation in a Tesla with that screen, it is tremendous. The situational awareness, I can't say enough about it. First off, you do have great visibility with all the mirrors, and you feel like you can see a lot. Nowadays, when you change lanes, a camera pops up on the screen, whether it's the right side or the left side, to show you, in addition to what the mirror is seeing, any other traffic out there. But those quality cameras, I mean, they do a great job. And in fact, at any point, you can call up the cameras, see the one behind you, see the ones on both sides while you're driving. So it's a great benefit, not to mention the traffic display on your screen. And I say that in two folds. The moving map, which is great because then you can see like orange or red traffic buildups and backups on your screen a mile, 2 miles, 500 feet ahead. You know when traffic is coming. But also on that screen, the depiction of your car versus all the other traffic around it. You can see a car in your blind spot if you're changing lanes and you hit that clicker to change lanes. It'll all of a sudden, that car that might be in your way, it's going to turn red on your screen and alert you that, hey, somebody is in your blind spot. So the traffic displays are phenomenal for situational awareness. Now let's get to the autopilot here. I have it on the car. To be quite frank, it's not 100% yet in terms of expectations, what you might expect. No, I can't get in, punch in an address, and have it drive me out of my driveway all the way to the destination. It just is not there yet. Yet is a key word because they're working on it. I've already seen tremendous improvements just in this last 12 months alone of the autopilot, how it drives without my input. Now, I'm usually watching it and following it closely. Side note, I'm also a pilot in real life. So I've used real autopilots, not car autopilots, airplane autopilots, which have been around for much longer. Totally different thing, but same idea. You want to trust the autopilot to a certain extent, but you always want to be skeptical of its next move. Yeah, the autopilot is great for the mundane portions of driving when you're nowhere near anybody else and you're just holding a lane, holding a speed. Let the autopilot do that easy driving for you. Take it off your mental plate so that you can do the more difficult driving through a tunnel, across a bridge, when it's bumper to bumper, right? You can handle that stuff on your own. But going back to the autopilot, it can do a lot. It can change lanes. It has a lot of awareness. It's getting better. But I just want to point out here, it's great for low demand instances right now. And it does not, I'm not a beta tester. I'm not an alpha tester, so I don't know what's next. But as for right now, here in April of 2022, it can't do the full scope of what it promises and what it advertises. However, full confidence that it will get there. All right, charging. This is a common question I get from a lot of people who want to talk about Teslas. I've found that charging and electricity seems, and right now, the cost of gas is way up. Electricity too, but especially gas. I've noticed, though, over this past year, it's been about a quarter of the cost using electricity versus gas. And some of this relates on your charging habits. Are you doing city driving, freeway driving? Do you charge every night? Do you let it go a couple days without charging? So a lot of that is dependent, obviously, on how you drive. Range anxiety is real. And in the same way that you'll see that needle go down from F full to E empty on a gas car, I think a lot of people see a number or a percentage on their Tesla and they're like, 56 miles. Even though I only have to go 20, what if this thing is inaccurate with the battery? So there is a certain extent of range anxiety, but I will say the home situation, the home charging situation should alleviate all of your problems. You are essentially going to the gas station every single night when you plug in that charger. It's going to replenish your car to a certain level that you can set, usually not 100%. You don't want to do that all the time, but let's say you're setting it at 70, 80, or 90%. Imagine having your gas car full every morning when you wake up. You can schedule it on a timer, and that's kind of what I do. But also addressing the home charging situation needs, just know that you're not going to be able to plug this car into a typical 110 outlet and have it probably charge for your commuting needs overnight. If you're going any significant distance, just know that plugging it into a regular wall outlet is only going to get you about 3 to 5 miles per hour. So 24 to, let's say, 40 miles in an 8-hour span of overnight or whatever. Just know that you're going to need a different home charging solution. And there are these out there, right? Tesla makes a specific fast charging device, but just know that you probably can't rely on straight plugging it into a wall and getting the sufficient timely charges you need. There's also this about superchargers. The network is amazing. They are so easily accessible. They are conveniently located. And to me, this is why Tesla is years ahead of every other EV car manufacturer, is the fact that they have a network across the country. And let's say I'm on a road trip, or let's say I've made the mistake. Forgot to charge last night. I'm not going to make it home. All right, I will stop in City X, which is very easy to find. Tap it on the screen of the car. It'll instantly give me directions. It'll precondition my battery on the way there. The supercharger network is great. It's also a little bit more expensive maybe than charging at home, but nowhere near the cost of gas. Now, as we stand here in 2022, it's accessible only to Tesla drivers. We'll see how they maybe expand it to other brands of cars. Here's another one that most people don't think about, but it was apparent to me as I thought about making this video, and 10 different things about a Tesla. The stereo system in the Model 3 alone is outstanding. Now, this is a quiet car, no engine. All you really hear is road noise, like the tires and the pavement. That's pretty much it. So there's a lot to be heard, right? There's not an engine that the stereo system is competing with. And so you hear the speaker system quite well. There are 15 speakers inside a Model 3 alone, and it's just a nice built-in luxury experience. You don't have to upgrade anything. You don't have to modify anything. It's crazy. My first couple cars as a teenager always put a stereo system in with an amp under the seat, all that stuff. I liked good sound, better than stock. But I have to tell you, what comes with the Model 3 is an outstanding experience. It just makes driving more pleasurable, to be honest. And then how about software updates? These are literally like getting a brand new car every couple weeks or months when these come out. Now, they're over the air, either via cellular or a Wi-Fi connection. But what's great about the Teslas I've experienced so far, all the hardware is intact. Like, the car can do so many more things now than it even could 12 months ago, but it only can do these things because the hardware and software is set up in such a way that all you needed to do was modify the software to unlock the hardware's potential. Like, for example, they just recently came out with the option of having a child lock, right? Not only for both doors in the back, like that's always been the case, but now this is just a small tweak. They've upgraded the software so that you can select, I only want the child lock on this side, or both, or none. Same thing with the window lock for kids too. So just small fixes and things like that to go along with all the fun stuff. There's a Santa mode, there's a boombox mode, all the fun stuff, but there's usable stuff too that is so well thought of. And I think part of that is their response to requests. The Tesla community seems like it's wide open in terms of throwing ideas and feedback to the actual manufacturer itself. They listen. They do updates based on, hey, I'd like to do this. Okay, we'll do it. There was something about the presets of seat positions, and it was a simple fix. Hey, can you add this in the software? Yes, we will. Or there was another one in terms of doing a destination, like in your maps. You would set an ultimate destination, but say you wanted to also have a stop on the way. Previously, you couldn't do that. So now they listened. The users wanted this. Now you can add a stop on your way to a final destination within the navigation software. So yeah, fun, useful, thoughtful additions to the software. How many other cars even have that right now? Yes, some do. I get it, but not to the extent of Tesla. Nobody's updating their cars frequently or as much or doing as much with these updates as Tesla. There's also some driving experiences that I've never had, some features I've never experienced before that this car has. I'm not sure every other one does. The green light ding. Now, I have this turned on. What is this? Well, you're stopped at a stoplight. It's a red light. A lot of people get distracted, talking to their kid, glancing down at a phone. You're not supposed to be using it while you're driving, but you get distracted at this stoplight, or you're just looking around. When the light turns green, instead of having your backseat driver say, green light, the cameras on the car will literally see that green light and go, ding. And you know, oh, time to get your head up, look around, clear the intersection, drive right through it, or make your turn. There's also an overspeed ding. Now, you can set this to be a certain total miles per hour, or you can set this to be a certain miles an hour over the current speed limit or of wherever you're driving. But it will tell you, ding, you're driving 9 miles an hour over the speed limit. I currently have mine set a few above 65. So I know when I'm accelerating past the speed limit, we've all done this. We look down at the speedometer. Uh-oh, I'm going 78. Whoa, didn't mean to. Just down a hill. It wasn't necessarily, as my head was outside, not inside here, but it is there to help you out in all these situations. So those driver features, they're such great experiences. Not to mention that you now in a Tesla, in a Model 3, you have dash cams constantly recording. All you have to do is plug in a USB stick into one of the ports in the car. You can turn on the dash cam. It is constantly recording everything you do from 4 different angles. So you have that just in case you need it, or you see something interesting, you want to keep it. There's 2 ways. You can actually set it up to honk the horn. It'll hit record and save it the last 10 minutes, or you can hit a button on the display and it will record the last 10 minutes. So that's fantastic stuff, all built in. You can also do a crazy amount of things from the Tesla app. I mean, literally security features, lock the car, unlock it, summoning. I don't really use this a lot, mostly because my driveway's down a slope and I'll just step in the car. But I guess for some, it's a fancy option. The car will come to you. It knows your location. I hit summon, you hold down the button, and the car will literally turn on, drive itself up to you, and stop. But yeah, the security features are nice to be able to open up or lock your car. If you forgot to lock it, it does it when you walk away usually. But if you need to unlock it for somebody else, the security features also include, like I mentioned before, the ability to open up your app and take a live look with the 4 cameras, front, back, left, and right. You can see what your car sees in real time. So let's say you are finishing up at work and you're about to go back out to your car and you just want to make sure it's not, necessarily a well-lit or well-traveled area. You just want to make sure that there's nothing suspicious happening around your car. You can instantly check before you even get out there. There's also the ability to control your HVAC system. So on a summer day, instead of getting in a hot car or going out to turn it on and turn on the AC before you get in it, you can just from your app turn on the AC to a certain temperature. It'll lower the car to that temperature so that when you get in 5-10 minutes later, it is absolutely ready to go and you're not sweltering inside of it. You also have the ability to control charging options, starting a charge, ending a charge, scheduling a charge, how fast you want to charge the car. Again, it's a crazy amount of things you can do from this Tesla app, and that connectivity is huge. It's necessary for this type of car, and honestly, once you have something like this, it's hard to think about not having something like this. So I've gone through 10 things. In summary, let's say it like this. A Tesla upfront is worth the cost, and that's also a misconception. And car costs change over time. Everything's very high right now, but look at a Model 3 even compared to, I don't know, say a minivan that we might also have here at home. The cost difference is not that much. It is a little bit more compared to other comparable things you might pay for, but it does, I believe, if you drive a Tesla for 100,000 or 200,000 miles, which is very possible in an EV, it does pay for itself and actually pay you back over time. So if you're considering having this car, it's not only worth the cost of luxuries and options, but it actually pays you back over time. At this point, I would definitely buy another because of the features, because of the flexibility. I do think that Tesla as an EV manufacturer, they're about 10 years ahead of everybody else, all the other brands. And I'm not rooting against all the other brands. I'm certainly not. I'm glad somebody is out on the forefront. And I'm glad that other companies are getting into this. So I'm not pledging my allegiance exclusively here. I'm saying I'm glad somebody is leading the way and that others are seeing how it works and that it can work. But I do believe Tesla, especially with the supercharger network, is 10 years ahead. If you didn't have the supercharger, how would you go somewhere and do a 500-mile trip in one day with an EV? It's tough, right? That involves a lot of sitting around and waiting and recharging. The supercharger, quick, stop, recharge in 20 to 30 total minutes, and you essentially have a full tank again. And then, like I said, I just think Tesla has forced the competition for others in this market. It is the future of driving in a lot of ways, not just the EV aspect of it, but in terms of some of the features and options that the car does provide. So those are 10 things I have to share about this car after about 1 year of driving it. Yeah, I've put some good miles on this car, taken it on some road trips. I've waited until now because I really feel like I have a grasp of this car, but maybe you're searching for one, maybe you're considering one, maybe you have one, and you just wanted to see what I had to say here. Let me know what you're thinking about this car. If you have one, if you're considering this, let me know all of that in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.